right, it's the weekend after everything have happened. It's been a long, hard weekend. I've managed to watch the actual video of the secret filming of my DLA tribunal, which I did for my own purposes really as well. Because I wanted to be able to show you guys what I went through. And I suppose B, I'm glad I did do that because I'm able to see the things that people are saying. For instance, my son says to me, Mum, that's lies, that's not true. Like I said to him the other day, you know, oh, you love writing poetry, you're brilliant at poetry. Well, he said, Mum, that's not true. Why do you always say things wrong and it's not true? And I said, what do you mean I always say things wrong? And he said, Mum, I've written a poem and it was a really good poem, but I only writ one poem. I don't love writing poetry. I writ one poem. And it's only when I thought about it, I realised, oh my God, that's true. That's true. He said, Mum, you always give the information. Hang on, because I could be doing this wrong. Christopher! Christopher! Can you come here a second, please? Because I asked you to. No, you didn't, love, do anything wrong. Come here a sec. I'll tell you what it is now. What did you say to me that I do? Like when something happens and then I tell the story. What did you say? How do I do that? What is it what words did you use? I forget.
I don't know what words I used at the time.
Well, what would you say it is now? Like if something happens or I have a conversation with you and then I say, oh, Christopher, what? Give me like when you were saying, oh, Mum, that's not true. Where did you get that from? Go on.
You just tell the story wrong. Oh, you use indirect speech.
So like what it like an example is when I even said about, I can think of two examples. The one where I said, oh, you love watching love watching the women on Byron's video.
Yeah.
And you...
I didn't even watch the whole video.
Yeah.
You said I loved the whole thing, and when you left I was still watching it, but I wasn't.
And then you said, and then the other thing about was the poem.
Yeah, you said I love writing poetry, but I don't.
And you've written poetry, haven't you? You've written it. How many times? Just one time, innit? But it's like it's all jumbled up in my head, and that's when I actually have realised something isn't too right. And then when I started thinking back to my nursing, it reminds me of my patients that had dementia. The symptoms that I'm having, it's like I make things all get confused and I jumble things up. And this is the first time I've been willing to accept it or realise it does happen. Thinking about my friend Tim, he would tell me, Anika, this is crazy. Where do you get these things from in your head? It's like you've got amnesia or something. So basically, anyway, thanks very much, Chris. So basically what they did was they decided unanimously that I am not entitled to disability living allowance, mobility, none at all. And I haven't had their reasons yet. I'm going to apply for it, but I remember you're going to watch the video of the actual DLA tribunal, and I remember that I was really nervous. It was my worst nightmare, because basically I've had such bad experiences with tribunals. I've had a court hearing because of my arrears when I had housing benefit, and that was scary. I've had to go to court because of when I was assaulted by my father's child. That was a horrible experience. I had to go to court when they took my property from me. That was a horrible experience. Had to go to court for parking fines. That was a horrible experience. And it's a horrible experience because your life is in the hands of people who don't know you, and also people who I feel don't have a clue about what... It's a class thing. You've got different classes, and they've got not got a clue what it's like to be me. As far as I'm concerned, they talk different, they look different, they dress different. They're in a completely different world to me. I've had social services hearings when it was to do with my son because I was really ill and I was hospitalised, and he they had to determine whether or not it was whether he was being emotionally abused because of my disabilities and things that were happening with him and how he was feeling, and that was horrible. I've had hearings to do with my son when he was assaulted in school, and they decided that he shouldn't be in the school because of my disability, and basically he was being racially discriminated against, and he lost his place in school because of my disability there. So throughout this whole thing, I'm intimidated by males. The place was full of males, full of men. There was 2 men who met me at the door, a man I spoke to on the phone, a security guard. They had a male who was a stranger from the public who wanted to view the hearing, and I mean, it was awkward. They asked me in front of him if I mind if he comes in. I was scared. I did mind if he was there, but you're asking me in front of him. It was crazy. How can I say no when you've got like a judge in court panel asking, do you mind if he's... I was intimidated, scared to say no. I just said, oh, that's fine, as long as he doesn't tell anyone. I was scared to explain my real feelings because it wasn't fine that he was there. This person who I don't know hearing my life stories, my personal details, it wasn't fine. I couldn't talk. I remember the chairman saying to him, oh, it's okay if you don't have to keep this confidential. It's a public hearing. And I was like, this is public. That means anything I say, the person who's put me in this position could find this information out. It's public. That means anyone can access it. Public. I'm scared of the public. I'm scared of people. They wouldn't allow my son to stay with me. They took him away. Another worst nightmare of mine. I felt like as if when he was being taken away from me because I'm not a good mother. They locked him. They put him in a room. The whole process was 1 hour and 40 minutes. I was questioned by 3 people for 1 hour and 40 minutes. No breaks, nothing. They wanted me to refer to how ill I was in May and then to how ill I am now, and I just kept getting confused. They kept asking what my carer does. Well, to tell you the truth, I don't really remember or know. I just know what I do. I can't talk for my carers. That's why I brought my son there, so he could say, because you just don't, with the conditions I've got, with foggy brain, you don't remember things. They kept asking me how long it takes me to go shopping. I don't know. I know I'm supposed to have 2 hours through social services, so I get confused. I don't time myself. I don't think, oh, I'm going shopping now, I'm going to put my clock on and time myself. I don't do things like that. I remember referring to my left side being my weaker side. Well, it's my right side. This is my right hand. It's your left if you're looking, but it's my right side. I confused my left and my right. I was just so petrified. I just wanted to get out of there. I just wanted to leave. I just wanted it to be over. I just felt like I was going outside naked and everyone could see me. This is my private life, my business. I choose what I want to give out the information. Why? I don't want to tell them. I'm telling you because this is my vlog, because I want people to understand what it's like for people with disabilities, but this is my choice, my free will. It's like I feel like they take things away from you and don't give you the choice. I felt like I wanted to die when I was in there. I felt so enclosed. It was my worst nightmare. I couldn't see any way out. It was a closed up room. There were personal female issues that I didn't feel comfortable discussing with males who I don't know being there. They kept asking me when I went on holiday, and I was so confused. It wasn't March that I went on holiday. It was actually April. And I went there because I wanted to find out more about fibromyalgia. I felt like they know more in America. I had the opportunity to interview someone who I'd interviewed over here through the radio station. And I also wanted the opportunity to link with the Call and Post, which is an African American newspaper. I've only to date had one article published with the Call and Post, and that was my bio. I haven't had any other articles published with them. And I remember I got so confused. I didn't take a PA with me. I had my PA come with me from Cardiff to the airport, then stay with me at the airport while I got to know the attendees there. Then the flight attendees stayed with me, and then I was taken by the hostesses. I got confused with a flight that I'd had in 2008 with my flight in 2010. Basically, I was confusing two flights, and also I was confusing programs that I'd watched on TV. It was just insane. I watch Nothing to Declare and UK Border, things like that, and all of those memories were confused because basically I'd taken a panic attack tablet, and you'll see when it starts to kick in. I specialise in elderly mentally impaired treatment for patients, which is called EMI. You'll notice that at 1 minute and 50 I'm looking over at the Department of Work and Pensions guy. At 1 minute and 50 I'm just think, oh my god, I can't stand to hear the way you're talking, your voice, and you're going over why you made the decision. It's just awful. 2 minutes 40 I'm thinking, why am I here at 2 minutes 40? At 5 minutes, that's when my medication is kicking in, because I took a propranolol because I was so nervous. I was getting really confused about 3 minutes. They were talking about a test. 6 minutes, the chairman starts talking to me. You'll hear his voice, very posh. I felt like I was being talked down to. I didn't want to talk about. They told me that at 6 minutes, also 6 minutes and a couple of seconds, they told me that they don't want to talk to me about my illnesses, about my fibromyalgia, because they've got enough thing already. So you'll notice that at that point I start crying, because I'm just so thinking, well, why am I here if I can't talk about my fibromyalgia? I don't work, I volunteer. I don't actually work from home broadcasting. I was getting confused with when I used to DJ online for a 3D world. And I write articles from home for Retro magazine. At 9 minutes I start mumbling and talking about stuff that I just don't know what I'm answering or why I'm doing that. I've never like done anything online for Able Radio. I start confusing the fact that I've had telephone conversations with radio broadcasting. 11 minutes, my medication, you'll notice, is kicking in even more. I've never worked for radio when I was nursing, never. I worked for hospital radio Glamorgan just a couple of months after I finished working for Radio Cardiff. I just was like, where did that come from? I stopped working as a nurse long before in the hospitals, long before I went into working in the care homes. That's when I last worked, was I was working in care homes. 40 minutes, I start talking about America, saying how they've read my articles online. No, Retro magazine read my articles from the Call and Post online, and that's how I got to work with Retro. I did not meet the pilot. I don't know what is going on. I didn't meet the pilot on the plane when I was going. I watched a program where a woman was frightened and she met a pilot. And I only went for 6 days, and I paid for my ticket. No one paid for it. I paid for it. And my accommodation in America was paid for. My accommodation. I start talking about how we don't have any racial issues here and it's a big melting pot. That's a conversation I've had while working with BVSNW and Voluntary Action Cardiff, not a conversation that I've had with the Call and Post. My PA didn't go with me to America then either. She went with me to Canada. Arrangements were made for me going on the plane. I'm just babbling so much rubbish on there that's just not so. I didn't realise how serious my problems were with my memory and things I say until now. I said that I tested myself on the bus at 23 minutes and 50. You'll see me saying I tested myself on the bus. My car was in for a service test and I had to use a bus. And I videoed myself for my vlog. Currently I'm doing home study. I'm not in university because I'm studying from home. Core group meetings do not have 27 minutes. I start saying that I have a core group meeting with social services for my son. Sorry, I say I had core group meetings with hospital. That's not so. I have core group meetings with social services for my son to plan to make sure that he's not having too much burdens on him as a young carer. And you'll just notice at 27 minutes I just become really tired. Basically, it's made me realise from watching this video how much medication changes me, how much it gets me confused, how much I ramble on and talk a load of rubbish. And that's scary. That's completely scary because I don't know who that person was talking all of that. But it just feels like it wasn't me because some of it just was all rambled, confused rubbish. And I can see how hard my problems are now by watching that. So this is basically an introduction. You're going to get to see my secret filming of the tribunal. Please don't judge me if you actually know me and you hear, oh, hang on a minute. That's not true. Why is she lying? It's not that. I'm actually confused. And it's different memories being confused together. And that's how much medication can have that effect on you. I had a panic attack. I was scared and I took my medication and it just made me completely different. So you'll get to see my tribunal. I hope you understand what it's like for people who've got disabilities and see that I have to go through this as having a disability because of people who pretend to be disabled. Please, if you don't have a disability, do not claim disability living allowance. There are other things you can do with your life. Because it's not fair to actually have a disability like I do and have to go through this. It's not fair on us. I'd have your life in a heartbeat if I could and have no problems. Be able to walk, run and do things and have a normal life, not be on medication. So please, this is to show you what I have to go through because, and what people like me have to go through with disabilities because of people who pretend to be disabled. Please, I'm asking you to have a conscience.